The man, the myth, the legend, the main man.
3, 2, 1.
Heath Eslinger, what's up?
What's up, man? Just chasing children everywhere, brother.
Well, we were supposed to do this morning, and my internet went kapooey.
Right.
I got it fixed, and then you said I have 1.5 minutes this afternoon between kids.
Golly, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy, man.
Are your kids in school? Or are you homeschooling still?
Oh, dude, there ain't no homeschooling going on in the Eslinger house. All right. Halfway through COVID-19 last year, the math teacher called my wife, friend of ours, and said, "Hey, one of your twins has done 3 minutes of math. The other one's done 2 minutes of math." I said, "Yeah, we're focused on PE and home ec in the Eslinger household."
Yeah. Well, that's your skill set.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Hey, I know we wanted to do a couple short videos. We're going to do one live, and then we're going to record another one as soon as we get done. And I'm going to put it out this weekend or first of next week.
All right.
And I know you got to run, so I'm going to respect that time. But a lot of times when you and I get on, we talk, we'll have 30, 40-minute conversations, and we cover a lot of territory.
Yeah.
On these videos, I want to try to stay on topic with one thing. And I pre-promoted this as the ride home.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we're going to do another one to tease this. We're going to do another one to help. There are kids out there who want to play sports who may not be great at first. And at the same time, there's kids that there's that same age that may excel and may struggle, down the road. But how parents and coaches handle that's important. We're going to do that video too.
Okay.
But the ride home and these things, I use you as therapy.
Oh God.
You're like, I'm not even Catholic, but I use it for confession.
Yeah.
Looking back on, because I raised 3 kids, and looking back on kids, I wish I had taken the ride home from practice and from games. To me, looking backwards as an old dad, that was God handing me gold. God handing me just this big lump of clay that Clint, 50% of the time, I took care of God's gift. And then 50% of the time, I bashed the clay. I threw the gold out the window.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how valuable those car rides were, man.
Yeah. And, the thing about the car ride home is that whatever we were doing before, whether it be school, whether it be sport, whatever, is that activity we were doing, it's like the farmer who's cultivating the ground, and when that ground is cultivated and that soil is fertile, the Bible even talks about fertile soil, you have an opportunity to really plant some things and watch it grow. And so I think what happens is parents oftentimes miss that opportunity where that ground is super fertile because they're simply focused on the wrong thing. There's a chance there to plant patience and watch it grow. There's a chance there to plant respect and watch it grow. There's a chance to plant integrity and watch it grow. But because what we just watched was a Little League baseball game or a Little League football game, what we're trying to get to grow is the next game and the improvement on performance. And we miss an opportunity to grow our child up in those areas that are crucial. And a lot of times we even build some barriers between us and our child because our child begins to think, well, hey, the only thing dad pays attention to is my performance, which is dangerous.
Well, and they start, if you don't handle it right, they'll start dreading the car ride home.
Oh, yeah, most of them do. Yeah.
Well, and what's bad is a lot of parents, I'll use me in this conversation. We know it. We just don't have the self-discipline or the look forward enough, the foresight to implement the discipline. And I think it's a failure, at least it was on my part, to think, to compartmentalize. Well, church handles the spiritual, right? Mm-hmm. I'll take him to work to learn business. Sports is about these core principles. But technically speaking, the car ride home is where I'm really showing him what church looks like.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you're cultivating the things that ultimately is going to be the differentiating factor for them if sports are in their cards.
Yeah.
Because it's those character and what I call long haul attributes that are so important for our kids' lives. And so, one of the things I would challenge parents with, Clint, and I'm no different. I speak about this enough, and I'm almost so convinced. My wife says I go the other way. I don't even advocate for our kids. But one of the things that you have to do is you just have to put some parameters up. Like we would tell our 7-year-old, hey, don't play in the middle of the street with traffic coming, because we know, hey, getting hit by a car at 7 or at any age could be detrimental and dangerous. And so we create a barrier, a boundary, a rule. And so what I think what parents fail to do sometimes is they don't predetermine that boundary. And so then our emotions begin to dictate our conversations, which is dangerous. And so create a boundary. Just say, hey, these topics are off limits when we get in the car after games. I mean, we're going to talk about where we go to eat and what we're doing next weekend, but I don't want to talk about your performance because, one, you're not mature enough to process it for most kids. And two, you don't care what I think right now. You really just want to know I care about you.
That's it. And the other side is if you looking back on the car rides that I know went well and how good it felt, it was the ones that even if I felt like coaching, we all call it coaching up. It's not coaching up. I'm a dad.
Yeah.
When I fought the desire to give any of my kids that, I don't know why you didn't get down in that 3-point stance, or why did you pass the ball when you should? Instead of doing that, if I would just breathe and start off, and I've heard you say it, and start off with, dude, it was so much fun watching you play tonight.
Yeah.
You showed a lot of heart. Good job. By the time I finished that phrase, the mature, really good dad would step in and kind of take over. It's when I didn't show the instant I have to say things to make me feel good.
Oh, listen, I did a podcast with a guy yesterday out of New York. He is the associate director for the New York State Athletic Directors Association. And man, he dropped a truth bomb on me. And I made him repeat it like 2 or 3 times. If you go check out our podcast at A Better Way Athletics, it's called Leadership in Athletics. But he said, so used to 30 or 40 years ago, parents, we were validated by what type of car we drove, what job we had, kind of maybe our clothes, our socioeconomic status. Well, now almost in America, you can't even tell the difference when you go to an athletic field. Like we're all driving SUVs, we're all on smartphones, we're all dressed at least decently. And so the one thing left where we find our validation as parents is the performance of our kid on a field or in a classroom. And so many times the reason we experience those frustrations is because when our kid gets in the car after a, whatever we deem a subpar performance, we're actually frustrated. It's our own insecurities that's causing us to have these conversations. And at some point you got to be honest with you. Am I mad that my kid didn't perform, or am I mad because this is a reflection on me, or am I just an angry person?
Well, and if you want to, if there's younger parents listening to this and you want to know how it comes back full circle, there's a couple truths here that I think. One, kids are super resilient despite the failures of parents. God just built them a lot of times with Teflon, but that doesn't mean it doesn't affect them.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched, especially my son, who's a lot like me, I watched him kind of move away from wanting to play because a lot of reasons, but I was a contributor for that. I don't know how big, but I know it in my heart.
Yeah.
Now, he pulled himself back and was good despite dad. But looking forward, if you're a young parent, that car ride home will be remembered way more than the 8th grade baseball practice or the 10-year-old football game. They will not remember that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Glad to have Joe Smith jumping on here. Don't be calling ugly, Joe Smith.
I was going to say, hello, pot, or the kettle.
Yeah. And so, and I get it, man. For all of you parents out there, it's so hard because it does. I mean, it can seem like it matters so much. But one of the things I try to do as well is, after games or whatever, try to invest and cultivate the conversation in areas that are outside of sport. Like, hey, Clint, man, great. I saw you go pick up, Johnny when he got knocked down, man. I'm so dang proud of you for that. That's the thing. That's what's going to separate you one day in this thing we call life, but you look for those things that, to me, that is what's validating you as a parent. Is your child representing those things? The fact that your kid is really fast at 8 years old is not because you're a great parent. It's because you're a gifted parent, probably DNA wise. Obviously, Andy Smith didn't have that luxury with Joe Smith being his daddy. I mean, he was slow from the womb.
Well played.
Yeah. So part of it is you have to decide what are our conversations are going to be about. So one of the things I caution parents with is if your normal car ride conversations are about, life, where we're going camping, then have those after a game. Like don't all of a sudden it gets super intense after an 8-year-old baseball game because you're frustrated as a parent. And so again, I think it's boundaries, it's creating boundaries, it's having a game plan to know here's the things that are off limits, here's the things that are important, and those are the things we're going to cultivate.
And you know what'll happen is, again, looking back, if you don't bring it up at first and say something that's not about anything, the kid will eventually go, "Hey, so what'd you think about the game tonight?" And that gives you the chance to go, "Dude, you played great." And then when you get on the practice field, or if you practice with them, then you can bring up some stuff you saw, but that he or she expects it there because that's a coaching opportunity, not a dad opportunity.
Yeah.
I got a silly, well, if you go ahead and say something, I got a silly question for you.
Just one thing I would challenge parents to do, even when your child brings it up, have a plan. So one of the things that I do, we have a module in our parent education curriculum called Developing a Team Player. No parent sets out to have the most entitled, arrogant, selfish kid on the team as a 12th grader. But we see that a lot because the natural progression in the sports world is it's all about my kid. And so one of the things I always do is I ask 3 questions. Hey, how did the team do? Because it's about the team. It's not about your kid. I mean, I know you think it is, but it's not. And so you reinforce that as the parent. The second question is who played well on the team? I force my daughter or my son to say something about another player that was good. I teach them to praise another player. And then the third thing I ask them is, hey, how'd you do? And so having a progression there is very, very important, because if the first question you always ask, no matter what the timing of it is, well, hey, how do you think you played? Well, really what you're saying to your kid is, well, that's the most important thing. And it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is, hey, did you contribute to the overall group?
And a lot of times as a dad or mom, the reason we're asking that, we don't usually ask that after the great games. We're usually just pumping them up. Usually if it's the subpar games, we go, well, how do you think you did? Because we want them to crucify themselves so we can go, you're exactly right. And that's just self-fulfilling crap again. I want to ask you my silly question, and then we'll wrap it up with Joe Smith's thing. But this is going to sound overkill, and if 100 people hear this, 1 or 2, it may needed to be done. I think I handled it pretty well, but I'm a big believer now that if you'll surround yourself with good people, they will help you through things. So I could see to where you have a couple of dads that if you struggle with this, you hold each other accountable. Like, hey, Heath, the game's over, buddy. Remember the car ride home. Just that simple thing puts it in my brain that I'm about to do something way more important than this game is.
That's right. That is so true. And as if you parents out there that are watching, you can gravitate toward one of 2 people in the stands and on this sport journey. You can gravitate towards those who are selfish and negative, or you can gravitate towards those who are positive and understand the big scheme of things. And I just want to challenge you, move toward the ones who understand it in the big scheme of things. It will help you as a parent, and ultimately it's going to help your child be successful long term.
Yeah.
There is no reason an 8-year-old should feel extra anxiety from me as a parent. Like my son's got a Little League baseball game tonight. Listen, it's like Happy Gilmore, gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a rip? Like I could care less. My daughter has a soccer game. At the end of the day, no one cares. I love to watch them play. I hope they give great effort. I hope they're respectful. And if it's in their cards, great.
Joe Smith said Andy apparently got his looks, but not his speed. I think that's what he's trying to say. And then he said, I always try to catch a kid doing something right and brag on them, which is very true.
Hey, one of the things we know in this world we live in is what gets rewarded gets repeated. And so, as a parent, if the only thing you reward is their performance, hey, they scored goals or they won the game or whatever, if that's the only thing you reward, well, then that's the only thing they're going to pursue. But if you're rewarding work ethic, if you're rewarding kindness, if you're rewarding teamwork, if you're rewarding respect and noticing those things like, hey, Clint, great job, man. I saw you do. Hey, you were so respectful to that referee. I'm telling you, that's what we value as a family. Dude, that's going to pay dividends later. You are going to set your son or daughter apart so that when they get to a room that everyone is good, they have a chance to make it.
Well, and that doesn't come unless you actually, as a parent, practice that. A lot of times those are habits and discipline that does not come natural to a lot of people.
Oh, it is not natural. It's not natural.
So you have to practice it and be very conscious of it. Hey, let's do this one, dude. Let's wrap this video up. But you tell people where they can find your content, and who's your target is, and then we'll record another one and we'll post it later.
All right. They can go to betterwayathletics.com. They can look under virtual training. We have parent education, coaching development. If you're an athletic director out there, or you're a high school coach and you say, hey, I would love to, basketball coach at Gordon Lee just reached out to me the other day. Seymour High School just reached out to me just yesterday. If you say, hey, I'm a high school coach and I want some education for my parents, we would love to make that available to your whole team, your entire every family involved in your organization. We have a way to do that. It's super inexpensive. We want to be an advocate for you because we believe there's two just major influences in the life of our kids. One, it's you, the parent, and you're the greatest. The other is the coach. And if we can create alignment between parent and coach, we're going to create success for the kid that we're leading.
Perfect. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it, Heath.
You got it.
Thank you. Talk to you later, everybody. Bye.